RCHUB International Foundation for Research and Education, and ISO certified.
Screen is visible. Is my entire screen visible? Anyone please respond, Ma.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so today we are going to discuss about two very important things that many researchers as a start of the phase doesn't understand how to frame their title, their own research title, and how to formulate their research objectives. So these are the two fundamental problems generally many of the scholars used to face while starting or while initiating the research. It is only during the mid of the mid of the researcher, they used to scrutinize the research title. They used to scrutinize the objective formation. Now, today, I'm going to give you a clear illustration of how you need to frame your research title and how you need to frame your objective based on my own experience. So, when talking, yeah, please everyone mute yourself, ma. So listen to me very carefully. The thing is that when it comes to research title, it clearly illustrates what your study focus is all about. And it generally helps the reader to understand what your research investigation is all about with respect to the. So please everyone mute yourself and coming to the things what you need to keep in mind, because many of the researchers generally go on with what the guides say or whatever they think it's more convenient for them. But I tell you what, when framing the research title, it's not very easy. You need to consider four important things, very important. These are very important aspect when considering or while framing the title. The first is research interest. You may have a knowledge on various subjects, but still there are some few subjects which you might be very much interested in. So always make sure that you choose a topic. You choose a research topic or the research of your interest. And most important thing is the time feasibility. I am talking about time feasibility because some have chosen, even some of my own scholar have chosen the research which is not feasible within a limited time frame. I tell you what this limited time frame is all about. Then comes a financial feasibility. For every research, there is a financial viability. You need to make sure that the research what you are going to conduct is financially feasible from your end. And then comes existing reviews. While you frame the title, you need to make sure that all these four aspects are fulfilled. Let me start with the research interest. Say, for example, if you are into a law discipline, or if you are into an engineering discipline, or if you are into a management discipline, whatever the discipline might be, you might have undergone various subjects with respect to those disciplines, and you might have interest in a particular subject and as well as in a particular topic. So that is what should be scrutinized. It's not that your subject and your topic or the title of interest may be limited to one or two. You may have four or five subjects in which you are more interested in. And within four or five subjects, you may have nearly two or three topics in which you are very much interested in. So enumerate, list out all the topics as well as list out all the subjects in which you are interested in. And from those lists, you need to make sure that you are going to make sure that it is feasible within the time period. It is feasible in the time period in the sense, for example, your PhD tenure might be 3 or 4 years. Say if you're an engineering graduate going to pursue in Anna University, obviously you will be having some relaxation with respect to time period. But in here, as of now, it's been completely regularized. But still, so you need to make sure that you may able to complete either on or before the time period. For example, if your time period is 4 years for PhD, or if it's for 3 years for PhD, so you need to make sure that you complete within the time frame. That's very important. So if you have chosen a right subject and a right topic, and if you personally feel that you can complete it within the time period, then that is more likely advisable to be considered as your research title. If you personally feel that it may take a very long time to collect the data, hereby it will be extending my research duration. It is not advisable. So when you have a list of research titles or research topics in which you are interested in, check out whether it's really timely for feasible, whether you may able to complete within the your PhD tenure period. That's very, very important. If you may able to complete within the PhD tenure, then you may proceed with those research titles. So hereby the 12 research titles or 15 research titles will get scrutinized or will get narrowed down to 5 or 6 topics. 5 or 6 topics. Then you have to look for the financial feasibility. I tell you what, every research has their own financial weightage. For example, as a scholar, by default, it's by mandatory, you need to do some publications, you need to go for international conferences and national conferences, you need to go for workshops, you need to attend the seminars. Apart from that, you need to test your subject for, or you need to collect the data via questionnaire. So obviously, it all going to cost you. It all going to be a financial burden for you. See, so taking this into consideration, out of 5 or 6 topics that you have scrutinized, you need to make sure that you are selecting out of 5 or 6 topics what has been scrutinized or narrowed down based on time feasibility. You need to make sure that those topics, what you're going to further scrutinize, is financially viable by your end, by your family. That's very, very important. So, because many of the researchers who haven't chosen the topic that is not financially viable, obviously they are facing a very, very what do I say? It's like a tremendous pressure in order to complete the project on time, because even the financial feasibility or the financial viability of you or regarding those topics what you are considered for the research will decide the time duration of completing the project. In case if you cannot financially viable, or if, for example, in order to collect the data from Bloomberg, you need to spend some time, you need to spend some money in, if you cannot afford on a right time, obviously you can't complete your research project on right time. So taking this into consideration, you need to make sure that you are choosing out of 5 or 6 topics that is being scrutinized, you're choosing 2 or 3 topics that is really financially viable. And most important thing is existing reviews. I tell you what, this is very, very, very important. If you wanted to conduct a novel research, I tell you what, being a PhD research scholar, I would advise you to go for a research through I mean research in which you have a humpty or a lump sum amount of reviews based on the study area in which you are going to conduct. I say this because if you're going to conduct a novel research, which means if there is a very, very limited reviews on that part on the topic in which you are going to conduct a research, obviously you will be facing a lots and lots of hurdles regarding finding the variables, finding the right factors, and which factors to be correlated with another factor, now how to do an analysis, or you will be finding a problem in all aspects, starting from the reviews, identifying the key variables, identifying the key factors, what analysis to be performed now, how, what kind of scales to be used in order to measure those variables. You will be finding a lots and lots of problem. So as of in a research scale, I mean research aspect, if you are going to be a researcher, or if you are going to be a PhD scholar, it is advisable to make sure you have a lump sum amount of existing reviews. So these are all the very, very important factor why you frame the research title. So out of 3 or 2 topics that you have scrutinized from the financial viability, it will be further, it will be further downtrodden to 1 or 2 topics. So select those 1 or 2 topics. So this is what is narrowing down your research topic. This is how you need to choose a study area, the study title. So these are the 4 important aspects that you need to consider or you need to keep in mind while framing the research title. I repeat, the most important thing is that the research interest. While framing the research interest, choose the subjects and choose the topics. Each subject have their own set of topics. So based on your subject of interest and the topics within it, choose at least 10 to 15 topics. And from out of those topics, look for those topics that is feasible via time. The topics in which you may able to complete within the PhD tenure. And once again, you need to narrow it down using the financial feasibility. Each and every research project has their own financial weightage. See whether you could afford those research. And finally, the existing reviews. Don't get into a novel research in a beginning phase. After a while, after conducting two or three research, after being a research scholar, after getting into a funded research project, after getting two or three funded research projects, you will be automatically enrolling into a novel research. But prior before that, you make sure that while you are a PhD research scholar, you make sure that you have a lump sum amount of reviews. So these are the four important fundamental factors what you need to keep in mind while framing the title. Is this clear, ma? Am I clear till now? So now you may have a question. Sir, how to frame a research title? You told all the four aspects that we need to consider while framing that while we are framing the research title. So how to frame a research title? So this will be the another fundamental question, right? So am I audible? Am I audible? Anyone please respond, ma?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So well and good. Is everything clear as of now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, ma. So well and good. So I tell you how to frame a research title. Prior before that, let me illustrate uh, what are the things or the steps to frame an effective research title. I will tell you how to frame a research title. Prior before that, let me illustrate the steps. The first and foremost thing is that identifying the key elements. Key elements in the sense, excuse me. Yeah. Okay. So key element in the sense, for example, for every study, there will be a key element, the key variable or the key factor. Sorry, not variable, but the key factor. So those key factors all has to be listed down. And the most important thing is that while you frame the research title, make sure it doesn't sound in a technical aspect. Use a descriptive language so that anyone who reads may able to understand. That's very, very important. Even if you're conducting an engineering research, make sure that your title is descriptive. That is, anyone who reads may able to understand what you are doing as an investigation. So make sure that you use a descriptive language. And the next important thing is that try to incorporate, after listing down all the key elements or the factors, try to incorporate the important factor into your title. That's very, very important. And most important thing is that consider length, because 3 days before, one of my scholar who have came to me, who have written the title for 3 lines. That is not a title, that is a sentence. See, you need to make sure that when you write, it doesn't crosses more than 1.5 lines, or more, not more than, if it's more of a technical aspect, not more than 2 lines. You make sure that it is concise, it's clear, or at least it is crystal clear, and it's very, very precise. Use the word economically and use the word descriptively. That's very important. And try to avoid ambiguity, because don't use too many factors into your study, into the title, because that will create ambiguity among the readers what he is exactly doing. So these are the important aspects, and try to illustrate the research type. That's very, very important. I tell you what all these aspects in the next thing. So the when you are framing a research title, so these are the things what you need to keep in mind. Sorry, keep while you, in order to make an effective research title. So first is identify the key elements, list it out, and keep it separately. Use a descriptive language and incorporate those important factors or the elements what you have found out. And then make sure that it is crystal clear and concise, or use the word economically so that it doesn't cross more than 2 lines. And try to avoid ambiguity, and try to illustrate the research title. These are the important things while you frame the research title. And how to frame a research title? I tell you what, framing the research title is very, very, very simple. Say, for example, if you know the subject, if you know the topic, what you are going to study, and if you know the industry, or is for some for management research, it might be industry. For a scientific thing, it might be a component. So it could be anything like that. Then comes the study area. In which aspect you are going to study? That is what is study area. So if you join all these three aspects, you will be getting your research title. So I tell you, I give you an example. For example, we can consider can we consider engineering, or we will let us consider a management discipline that will be very easy for everyone to understand. Say, for example, every organization has human resource management team. So every HR department will be working on with recruitment and selection. So if you are interested in the subject of HRM, human resource management, and if you are interested in the topic of recruitment and selection strategy, and if you wanted to on IT industry, study on IT industry, in, say, for example, in some district, like say Chennai district, which is an IT hub. So if you conglomerate all these aspects, you will be getting the title. Say, for example, a study on recruitment and selection strategy, which is a topic. Recruitment and selection strategies adopted by IT industry. You see, I have also illustrated the industry, IT industries in Chennai district, the study area. You see, when all these three aspects come together, you will be getting the research title. Very simple, as simple as this. So, if you wanted to frame an appropriate research title, say, for example, if you're going to study about a corrosiveness, corrosive resistance product. So if that is your topic, which is a subject, which is one of the topic in the corrosion, so and you wanted to study with respect to uh, the the sea water, which is once again is going to be your study area. So the sample in the industry might be of something like shipping industry. So if you correlate all these things, or if you conglomerate all these things, you will be getting the topic. So this is what, when considering or well framing the research title, make sure your topic, the sample respondent, or the sample what you are going to consider, and the study area, if all three is being conglomerated. So if these all three are conglomerated, you will be getting a crystal clear research title that is very simple, that is very concise, that is using a very descriptive language. As I stated before, a study on a study on recruitment and selection strategies adopted by IT industry in Chennai districts. So this will be applicable for most of the research, most of the domains, whether if you're doing in law, or if you're doing in engineering, or if you're doing in some other aspects, like say in arts and science. So every aspect, it will works together. So this is all the three important aspects you need to take into consideration while framing the research title. So we have discussed about the three important aspects. What are the aspects? First, what you need to keep in mind while framing the research title. You should be having the interest. It should be timely feasible. That is within your PhD tenure. Then it should be financially viable from your family and from your end. Then comes, it should have a large amount of existing reviews. And then we have discussed about how to frame an effective research title. What are the things you need to consider? So first is the key elements, or nothing but the factors. And you need to make sure you are, yeah, everyone. Akshay Kumar, do you have any doubts, ma? Everyone, try to mute yourself, ma. How to form a scientific question or a problem, that I will be illustrating tomorrow, ma. That's nothing but a research question. So that I will be illustrating tomorrow. Don't worry. So if you could, because it is after the objective. Today I'm going to discuss about the research title formation and objective. From the objectives, uh, generally it is the research question that has been formulated into objectives and then which is once again scrutinized into the hypothesis that I will be illustrating tomorrow. Don't worry, let us go one by one. Okay, Akshay Kumar. Okay, so then how to frame a research title? I told you, when the topic, when the sample and the study area all clubbed together, you will be getting the research title, an apt research title. So when it comes to importance of research title, the very first thing is that impression. See, when someone looks at your research title, they may easily able to guess the IQ of the researcher. The more the clarity you give, the more rewarding the outsider will look at your research. So make sure that your research title is clean and clear and precision. Use the word more economically. And what is the research scope? What is the scope of the research? What all the aspects you are going to scope? So your research, the title itself should illustrate what's the scope. Aspects as of now. So I tell you what, objective role, the important role in the research in the sense, for example, if very flow of the objectives will tell you whether the researcher have conducted the research in an appropriate way or something. It's like he wanted to come. Objective plays a very important role because even after at the end period of Viva, you have not scrutinized your objective. Each completely reflects that you are not a good researcher. So taking this into consideration, your objectives has to be in such a way that it outlines what the researcher is intended to achieve as an investigation. And the most important thing is that it should have it should have the purpose and direction and the process flow. What this process flow is all about. And the most important thing is that the objectives what you have formulated we call it as hypothesis testing, right? So to explore the phenomena. So the object and most important thing is that the objective should be specific. That is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That is SMART. So when it comes to framing an objective, this is what is the flow of objective. What this flow of objective is all about. First, it should be starting with a broad exploration. Like you are going to study and first understand the concept. Because with the many aspects, I see the objective for in the first itself, it will be starting with to analyze this factor with demographic variable, to analyze this compound with that compound. First, you need to begin with a broad exploration to study and analyze the properties of particular compound or study and analyze about this particular recruitment selection strategy in context with IT industry. First, you need to understand. You should begin with a broad exploration and then you have to narrow down to a specific factor. So what this narrowing down to a specific factor? Narrowing down to a specific factor in the sense, now you have to get into the topic. Now, what are the recruitment strategies adopted by the IT industry in Chennai district? So, or what are the properties of this compound with respect to what are the reaction of this compound with this compound? So now you are going to narrow down and then you need to conduct an analysis. Then you need to try to forecast or you need to do some regression or estimation work. And finally, you need to give the recommendation. So this is how the flow of objectives has to be. So how the flow of objectives has to be? First, to study and understand like this, to study. After finding the study, what is your second objective is to be to identify the factors and variables associated with the study. This should be your second objective. And third objective is to be to analyze. The fourth objective is to be the to estimate. And most important thing is research gap. Generally, when you start your research, your guide will ask you to conduct as many review of literature as possible. Once you have collected, once you have studied, you will be identifying some research gap. This should be incorporated into the objective. If this is incorporated into your objective, obviously your research will have more weightage because you are going to explore something what is not discovered yet. So this is what is a research gap. So this should be one of your objective. And finally is your suggestion. So how your objective flow has to be, it should start with the study to identify the factors and variable, to analyze, then to estimate, and something the objective related to your research gap, and finally to provide suggestion. So this is how your objective flow has to be. Am I clear, ma? Is everything clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so well and good. So now let's get into the research question. I think some question. Okay. So while you frame the objectives, what are the things you need to consider? What are the things? It is here. Let me explain about the research question, because we don't have exactly related to the research question. So let me try to answer that. So coming to the research question, the research, excuse me. Yeah. So is my voice very much audible, ma?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is what. So when you are going to frame a research question, you need to make sure that it is completely correlated with your objective. That's very, very, very important. If you take a close look, generally in an introduction, the first chapter, introduction and design of the study, what you will do is that after conducting the review, you will be finding the research gap as well as the objectives to be formulated. These research gap and the objectives to be formulated has to be projected in your statement of problem. The statement of problem is then should be transformed into a research questions. What these research questions is that these research questions or scrutinization. Say, for example, all your research question should be answered using the objectives what you have formulated. Say, for example, what is a recruitment strategies adopted? What is a selection strategies adopted? What are the other strategies they are adopting to aspects, all these factors, all these variables, all these research questions has to be answered via your objectives, and only using these research questions is being once again scrutinized and transformed into the hypothesis. So if you take a close look, you will be seeing that your review of literature is transformed into a statement of problem, and this statement of problems is converted into research questions, a bulletin research questions. Say, for example, don't push your research question more than 6 or 7, because the each and every research question should be formulated into hypothesis and objective. So make sure that your objectives and your research question is being constrained to 5 or 7. Consider only the topmost or important research question that you have found using the statement of problem, that should be considered as an objective, that should be considered as an hypothetical testing. That should be considered as a hypothetical testing using statistical tool. So these are the important aspects. And once you have identified your objectives and hypothesis of testing, write down the scope. The scope in the sense, your research will be covering only these aspects, not out of these aspects. If someone is asking you, for say, for example, why you have not conducted a research with respect to the logistics department, why you have not conducted, you may simply say that is not in my scope of my study. You can clearly say that is the right answer, because your scope of the study, say for example, why you have not conducted in this industry, why you are not conducted in that industry. If someone asks, you should be in a position to say that that is not my scope of my study. So your scope of the study should clearly illustrate who is your sample, what is your study area, what are the samples you are considering, what are the objectives you have formulated, that is been identified using the reviews, and what your research will be answering. That is what is the scope. So now I hope you have got a clarity about what this research question is all about, how it is being derived from the review of literature and the statement of problem, and how this research question is formulated into objectives as well as the hypothetical testing questions. So do you got me? So this entire chapter 1 is a flow, it's a process flow. Without conducting a proper review, you cannot write your statement of problem. Without writing down the appropriate statement of problem and scrutinizing it, you cannot identify the proper research question for your study. Without identifying the proper research questions, you cannot identify your objectives and your hypothesis. And most important thing is that while you frame the research question, you make sure that when you frame or scrutinize into an objective, the objective once again has this process flow. That is, it should start with study to identify the factors and variables, to analyze, to estimate, and to find the solution for the research gap, and to provide suggestions. So this is what it is. Is everything clear, ma? Is everything clear?
Yes, sir.
So today, let me repeat. Today, we have discussed about how to frame a research title and how to frame the objectives. So to frame a research title, you need to make sure you have interest on it. It is feasible within the time frame for that is your PhD tenure. It is financially viable from your end or affordable by your family. And it has a lump sum amount of existing reviews to identify the factors and variables. So this you should keep in mind while you frame the research title. And to frame a research title, choose the topic, choose the sample, choose the study area. If you club all together, you will be getting a crystal clear, concise, economically wording research title. So this is the mantra to frame the research title. And the most important thing is that you need to make sure that your research title is crystal clear and precise, so that this will create a very impactful impression when someone reads it. And this is a very, very big, important step as a researcher, what you are going to do in your research. And most important thing when it comes to objectives, the most important thing what you have to see is that it should be outlining what your investigation is all about. Most important thing is that it should be smart. That is, it should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and it's time bound. And how the flow of objective has to be? The flow of objective has to be, first, it should start with to study and understand. Say, for example, let us consider recruitment and selection strategy itself. To study and understand the concept of recruitment and selection strategies in context with IT industry. This is my first objective. Similar to this, to identify the factors and variables associated with recruitment and selection strategies. This will be my second objective. And the third objective will be to analyze the recruitment strategies, to analyze the impact of recruitment strategies on job perception, and to estimate the what do I say, outcome, not outcome, we cannot say outcome. We can say something like to estimate the performance of employee based on the selection strategies adopted by the IT industry in Chennai district. And so there might be some research gap that I might have identified. That will be my next objective, and to provide possible solution for the IT industries in Chennai district for the appropriate recruitment and selection strategies. You see, the objective flow is neat. It started with the study and it ended up with the suggestion, and it also have fulfilled the research gap, and there is a good flow, the process flow. You should not start with to analyze in the beginning itself. You should not start with to estimate, to forecast, that to explore. That is completely anonymous. It's like you are straight away getting into an insight. So go with the process flow. That's very, very important. You make sure your objective has a good flow. So these are the important aspects. And also we have discussed about the what do I say, the research questions and the statement of problems. So these are the important aspects with respect to research title formation and objectives. So is everything clear, ma? Do you have any questions? Can we make then the next 10-15 minutes as a doubt clarification? Ask questions only related to this research title formation and as well as the objective formation and other things what we have discussed, ma. Because in day 2 we have a separate session. In day 2 we'll be discussing about the other aspects like how to design a questionnaire and how to validate. These are the aspects. If you are in engineering, obviously you will be having a separate set of tools that I will be explaining you tomorrow. So tomorrow it's a different thing. It's related to questionnaire designing and development and validation of those questionnaire. Those are the important aspects what we are going to discuss tomorrow. So then and the day after tomorrow, we'll be discussing about the statistical part, which you may able to adopt. So in today's session, do you have any doubts, ma? Let me see it. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone? Any questions, ma? Am I audible? Yeah. Tell me, Purnima. How to analyze a problem and what hypothesis we use? How to analyze a problem? Problem in the sense you are asking about how to analyze a research problem, what hypothesis we use. I didn't get your question, ma. How to analyze? Yeah.
I explain.
Hmm.
I'm a B.Ed student, and
Hmm.
I have one research paper will be there.
Hmm.
I'm visiting the internship school at 8th
Hmm.
standard. The mathematics phobia is there, so I need. Can you guide a little bit how I this write the research paper little bit? Means I just copy the previous file, but I understand. But how we conduct these problems, which hypothesis we have to use, and what the questionnaire, what the process you are
Hmm.
doing, you are showing the graph is there to study, to identify the factors and variables. So
Hmm.
in that point, how I
Hmm.
find it, any how I write a variable and factors and analyze to estimate, how I do, sir.
Yeah. So you tell me your topic, ma. What is your topic right now?
Sir, mathematics phobia for the 10th standard, 8th standard.
Mathematics phobia. Okay. So mathematics phobia is your topic. Okay. So among the 10th standard students, 10th standard students, what we technically called as high school, not high school students, secondary education students, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So secondary education students. And in which area you are going to conduct this study?
Sir, in school, secondary school, English medium, sir.
Yes, ma. I am asking which district or which state?
Pune, sir. Pune, sir.
Pune. So this is how your research title has to be. A study on math phobia among the secondary education students among the Pune district or Pune state. So this is how your research title has to be. And with respect to your objective, with respect to the objective, how it has to be, it's like to study and understand the math phobia prevailing among or in context with secondary education students. So this should be your first objective. I'm not giving you exact wordings, but you need to scrutinize here and there. Okay, I'm just giving you an outline. Okay, to
Okay,
identify.
please give me outline.
Okay, ma. Then your second objective has to be to identify the factors that are creating math phobia among secondary education students in Pune district. And third, to analyze the impact of math phobia on their result and performance in other subjects. And to estimate, they estimate the impact of math phobia on their overall performance in education. And the next thing will be research gap. And finally, to provide suggestion among the education community in order to reduce a math phobia among secondary education students. Do you get me? Now you have the flow of objectives, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
This is how, this is a simple trick. Actually, the thing is that you will be getting a right process flow of how your objective has to be, and now you know how to frame your objective. I tell you how to analyze your problem hypothetical. I mean, I tell you what, to analyze a problem. Are you asking about the questionnaire design here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's also very simple, ma. You need to open an Excel sheet that I will be explaining you tomorrow. Yet, since you have asked this question, let me give you a glimpse. So, for example, with respect to math phobia, there might be 2 or 3 factors, right? Say math phobia, afraid of numbers, afraid of equations, afraid of formulas. There will be many things, right? Many factors, right? So for each and every factor, there will be variables. So try to collect a review and identify those factors and those variables and list it out. List it out. For example, one factor has 10 variables, list it out. If one factor has 20 variables, list it out. When you have listed out all the factors and all the variables, convert those variables into questionnaire. That is the very simplest and easiest way to frame a questionnaire. That I will be explaining you tomorrow, ma. Don't worry. Once the questionnaire is framed, obviously, you need to test hypothetically using statistics or some other tools. That we'll be explaining in the very next session. Okay. So I hope for Purnima, everything is clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Excuse me,
Okay,
sir.
ma. Yeah.
Sir,
Tell
I
me,
want
ma.
to do research on neurological disorders with AI techniques. Can you frame the title?
Neurological disorder
Disorders with AI techniques.
with AI techniques.
Yes, sir. Can you frame
So,
the title and objective?
is it related to medical field, ma?
Yes, sir. Medical.
So you wanted to what exactly you're doing, ma? Because in engineering you should be very because every wording does matter. So using AI technique in the sense you're going to identify whether there is neurological disorder using artificial intelligence. Am I right? You're going to
Yes,
create an
sir.
algorithm. You're going to
Yes,
create an
sir.
algorithm for the medical field.
Yes, sir.
So in such a way, it's here you need to frame an objective here and there completely different mark. For example, to study what aspect you wanted to frame a research title, right? Research title or
Yes,
objective?
sir. Research title and objective both.
that research title.
Title I want to, I think, అంటే classification and recognition in neurological disorder. I thought,
Tell me once again, ma.
అంటే I want to frame new classification and recognition of neurological disorder with AI techniques. But I didn't submit. Coursework exams are next month. Coursework exams are there.
Okay, just hold on a minute, ma. What you have said is 70% to me, it has clarity. I think this
Okay.
research title is good, but I think there is little scope for improvement because since it's completely into an engineering aspect, when I tell you what, when you frame a research title with respect to management discipline or like be it education field discipline, you may able to frame the title just like that, using the three things what I given. But when it comes to yeah, excuse me. Yeah, when it comes to the engineering aspect, it is always better to illustrate. Say, for example, you said classification and recognition, right? Of
Yes, sir.
of neural disorder, which is the topic.
Yes,
Classification,
sir.
which is the
And
topic.
recognition.
So among uh, so classification using artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is the study area.
Okay.
So the sample here, the industry or sample respondents doesn't play so much role. So thereby, say neurological disorder among, are you going to consider a selected set of sample? Say for example, if you're only with the age category of 20 to 30 or 30 to 50 or something like a newborn child or something like that, or irrespective of the age, irrespective of the demography.
Irrespective of age, yes, sir.
So no need to consider that sample work, ma. So this has more clarity. The title has both the topic and the study area. It's very clear, so you can go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you, sir.
But
Objective, sir.
anyhow, the thing is that when it comes to engineering, I'm not well versed in all engineering aspects. So taking this into consideration, what you said really makes sense to me. But still, it is better to have an advice of your guide to scrutinize the topic in case if he personally feels, because he might be an expert in this. Okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you, sir.
So any other questions, ma?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please,
Hello,
ma.
sir. My name is Manju. Can I just ask you a question based on literature, by the way?
Yeah, please, ma.
Okay. Sir, I would like to do a research on the concept of digital divide, which you can see in Robert Frost's poems. I'm just hoping for planning to do a kind of metaphorical, parallelisms or comparisons which I can make with respect to the contemporary society and its negative impact of digitalization. So I'm trying to make a link between the Robert Frost's characters, which appear to be quite alienated and isolated. That particular alienation, I'm trying to link that with the digitalization, with the negative impact of digitalization in the current world. That is my idea. So, in what way can I just frame a title based on that?
Actually, you are going to consider a concept that has been already stated by someone, right? So you put that in the scope of the study. Don't put that into the research title. So your research title is,
I'm,
let me ask
I'm
you.
trying to. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
let me
focus on
ask
the
you a
digital
question.
divide. Yeah.
You tell me, ma, whether have I understood your research or what? So you are intended to do a study to identify the negative aspects of digitalization, right?
Yeah, which means
For
that.
that, yeah, for
Yeah.
that you are going to consider, yeah, theories and concepts already proposed by someone else. Am I right?
By Robert Frost. I'm just trying to link the
Robert
characters
Frost.
which are, yes, yes.
So
So
you are
the
going to
kind of
consider
isolate
all the factors and variables that the Robert Frost have already used in a study with your study. At the same time, you are also going to see the negative impact of digitalization, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make a parallelism. I'm trying to make a link that isn't it because of, I'm trying to juxtapose, I'm trying to bring Robert Frost to the right postmodern era, in which I'm just trying to think that, well, that alienation which the characters of Robert Frost actually thought about in his poems, can that be equated with the negative impact of digitalization that we see right now in the present world? Could that
Actually,
be one of, could
that
that be one of the reasons?
I tell you, Ma, actually
Yeah.
speaking, when it comes to research, you have framed an hypothesis that you are going to conduct a parallel study. What the Robert Frost have done, you are going to do a parallel study, but
Yeah.
here you are going to consider the negativity of digitization. So the thing is that
Yeah.
you cannot go ahead straight away with a hypothesis of negativity. You need to frame a moderate questionnaire. I tell you what this moderate questionnaire is all about. It's like you are considering a Likert scales. You know what Likert scale are?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
should consider a Likert scale based question. All those questions, what you are going to consider, it should be a replication of the questions, not exact replication, but a scrutinization of those variables what the Robert Frost have considered for the study, but in a scrutinized way. And most important thing, you should not conclude right now. You should not conclude that there will be a negativity. Once you conducted a
No.
study, you will be
Uh,
parallelly knowing that these are the aspects that have positive impact, these are the aspects that have negative impact of digitization that you should be concluding at the last. So it's like, yeah, I could see that I really appreciate your research work, Ma. But at the same time, you can
yeah.
go back. The thing is that it's like you cannot conclude in a way. You try to create a questionnaire in a moderate way, in such a way that every variables what you are going to ask, what every question what you are going to ask in your questionnaire replicates the variables and factor that has been already asked by the Robert Frost, and you make sure that if it comes in a very positive direction as far as your hypothesis have formulated, that's really well and good. If it goes against, once again, it's a research findings that you can give to the community. So that is what I could say. Don't conclude in the very first beginning itself. You're framing the hypothesis is important, but don't frame the questionnaire in a negative way. That because
No, no. What I feel is that no, it's my thinking. I'm not focusing on the. No, in fact, the negativity is implied in it. But the thing is that I'm just imagining. I'm just hypothesizing that, like, is it that alienation which was experienced by the characters of Frost? Could that, if that was fixed onto this present world right now in the postmodern era, here also there should be in the present world, actually we feel like a sense of alienation because of over impact of digitalization. So can if I could, so that isolation which the characters of Frost meant, could that be, I'm just thinking, can that be related to this kind of digitalization of the present world? I'm just trying to make up a metaphorical study, in fact.
yeah.
You got my
I got it.
focus.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
you are going to consider. Yeah, that's great. That yeah, I
It's a
really appreciate.
metaphorical, it's a metaphorical stuff. I'm just
Metaphorical
trying to
in the
give a
sense you are
metaphorical
going to
explanation
consider
for the
what
word.
he have stated in this current era. That's right, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because
that's it.
during the time of Robert Frost, actually there wasn't much of digitalization. This IT kind of stuff and tools of that stuff actually is a present world's scenario. But
So
I'm
in
just
such a
trying to,
case,
yeah,
if your study is completely related to Robert Frost, you need to consider that particular Robert Frost
aspect. Yeah.
study aspect in your research title. You have no other option.
Yeah. So my thing is that will I be able to find out other resource materials apart from just analyzing the various forms of frost? Could that be possible? As for a doctoral thesis, will that support me in my study with all
Uh,
the relevant source materials, resource materials?
This is what I am telling you, Mark. See,
Yeah.
whenever you consider a research title, you need to make sure that you have a lump sum amount of existing reviews. If you are confining your study to a particular concept or a
Focus on.
particular system or a
Yeah.
study that has been already conducted before, your number of variables will be reduced, your number of factors will be reduced. Even you cannot
Yeah.
even find a decent amount of reviews to support your findings.
Yeah.
You will be facing lots and lots of trouble as a researcher. I won't suggest this. After a while, if you have got a research, if you have got a doctoral degree, and if you are going to conduct a study which is completely of related to social science, who is for which you are being funded, At that point of time, you can do all sorts of your novel research. In fact, at that point of time, you will become a researcher, a real researcher. As
Yeah, you
of
mean the
now,
postdoctoral studies,
yeah,
no?
exactly. As of now, you will
Okay.
be in a learning phase. Don't take this risk, ma. You should always make sure what I told you, right? The very first thing, what I told. Do you remember? The
Actually, I was a bit late in joining your session by
yeah,
the sir. I was a bit late. Also,
yeah.
I
The
missed
first and
the
foremost
initial
thing,
part of it.
when you
Yeah.
frame, is my screen visible, ma? Is this?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. It's very
Ah,
clear.
so when you frame your title, you need to make sure you have interest in that particular topic and the time feasibility. If your PhD tenure is 3 years, you should be completing within the 3 years or within that
Yeah,
period.
yeah.
That's very important. And each and every research project has its own financial viability, financial
Yeah.
weightage. You need to make sure that your family or you as yourself could able to afford it. And most important thing is existing reviews. Without
Yeah.
the lump sum reviews, finding factors and variables, and even framing an appropriate questionnaire and supporting your findings will be very, very, very difficult.
Ah,
Always make sure that you have a lump sum amount of reviews, ma.
yeah,
Okay?
okay, okay, okay.
Don't
Thank you
do
so
this
much.
mistake, ma.
Yeah, yeah.
Try to at least what do I say? Exemplify your research. Don't confine to Robert first, okay?
Ah, yeah, that's it. So I can make it like a qualitative analysis of themes with other.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
even for qualitative, once again, you need to go for Likert scale. That I will teach you tomorrow, ma. Don't worry. Okay?
yeah.
Great.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. Okay,
I,
thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
okay, ma.
Yep.
Anyone, any other questions, ma? Okay. Nutritional value of alternative protein. How to frame the title for it? My field is food science and technology. Uh, Fahima Sherin, what title as of now you have in your mind, ma? Because I tell you what, I already told you, right? When it comes to technical aspect, for example, if it's related to completely into an engineering or technological field, um, framing a descriptive title is a little bit hard. Fahima,
Hello, sir.
yeah, please tell me, ma. Actually, as of now, what title you have framed for your study, ma?
Sir, actually, I'm doing on the analysis of physiochemical properties of plant-based proteins, sir, in comparatively with the animal proteins, sir. My subject is food and nutrition, but since it's going very in depth, sir, I don't know the lines. Title is crossing more than 3 lines, sir. So I don't know how to frame within one line. My topic is related to nutrient evaluation of these recipes developed using alternative protein. But how to concise within one line, sir?
Uh, not one line. It may take one or one and a half line. I think it will be one and a half lines or like that. It's talking about it's like you're going to go for a plant-based nutritional protein, right? Which is completely alternative to animal protein. Am I right?
Yes,
That
sir.
is what you're
Yes, sir.
studying.
Yes.
So, are you going to make a comparative study?
Sir, actually, I'm a newly joined researcher, sir. It's been only 1 month. We don't know, sir. We have not yet framed anything, sir. It's my idea of just doing the PhD, sir.
Okay, okay. So you should first right now have a clarity of whether you're going to make a comparative study or
Mm.
you are going to study only the plant-based nutrition. I mean plant-based protein.
Okay.
And now are you going to do a different combination of plant-based protein to identify which yields better protein result?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is the thing.
Oh, okay. So you are not going to do any so not comparative study. So what are all the as I think it may take some time. The thing is
Yes, sir.
that um, mm, I think once again for this you need to have a concern with your guide because
Okay, sir.
uh, this aspect once again say for example still have not got the perfect clarity of I have got what your research is intended to. I have got your topic. It's like plant protein. The
Yes, sir.
plant
That's
protein.
the
That's
yes,
your
sir.
topic. So that's your
Yes, sir.
topic. So your study area, what
Sir, actually, I am a complete study of plant-based protein, where the sources available and what recipes can we make with it, and
oh,
we are
you are
going to
going to
find out
study on recipes,
not
plant-based.
proteins. We are going to formulate one plant-based protein mix using all the plant-based protein sources available, sir. From this, the protein mix or the health mix, I'm going to incorporate it into our daily use recipes, sir. That's the thing. But I don't know how to frame this title for this, sir. That's difficulty.
Don't worry, Ma. Give me some time. Maybe
Yes, sir.
tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I'll be giving you the answer. Because I'm
Okay,
not
sir.
into this food science technology. I'm into
Okay, sir.
something relevant, social science, management,
Yes.
business, even education I have done. So I
Okay,
have
sir.
entered into various disciplines, but framing engineering and this is the very first time I'm seeing. I actually have seen food science, but that's
Okay,
completely
sir.
different. But
Yes,
we
sir.
will be
Yes.
getting the answer, but don't worry. Okay, so I
Okay, sir.
think in today's topic, everything is clear. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was very clear, sir.
Okay, ma. So tomorrow, let us discuss about the questionnaire framing, validation,
Okay, sir.
and
Okay,
also
sir.
let me try to give the answer if possible, ma. Okay. So
Yeah, yeah, sure, sir.
can we wind up the session?
Sir, excuse me,
Sure,
sir.
sure.
Yeah, tell me, ma.
Sir, I'm research scholar from
Hmm.
Mysore University.
Okay, ma.
So I'm studying my PhD in human development and family studies.
Tell me
So
no once
I'm
again.
interested.
Tell me once again, ma.
I'm from Mysore University,
No, no.
sir.
Which
Research
topic? Topic?
scholar.
Topic?
Topic. So I'm interested in tracing some risk and protective factors for binge behaviors among the youths.
Binge behaviors in the sense what, ma?
Binge behaviors like it may be binge eating, drinking, or excessive watching
Okay,
or
okay,
gaming. Huh.
okay, 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 okay. So, what do you exactly expect, ma?
I
Research.
just want to trace out the risk factors as well as the protective factors for those kind of behaviors. So, what
Objective. What
title
is
I
it, ma?
can give it for? Huh.
Harshita, I'm not hearing your
Sir.
voice.
Sir, I wanted to trace out the risk and protective factors for these kind of binge behaviors.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Yeah, as I stated before, the study
Okay,
area is
only
binge behavior.
binge
Your study,
behaviors.
yeah, your study area is binge behavior, and your
Huh.
sample respondents is youth, and your
Huh.
study area, in which area you're going to study, ma? This
In Mysore
Mysore
city.
district. So
Yeah,
Mysore is a district, right? District, right?
yeah.
Okay, okay. A study on binge behavior among the youth in Mysore district. That's very clear, right? That's more than enough.
Then no need
Don't
to give that
No need to incorporate any factors or
risk
much
factors
factor.
or protective.
Put that in
Okay,
the objectives. Put
okay.
all those factors
Only
into the objectives and scope. Try to limit your scope. That's it. We are simple as
okay,
this. Very simple, ma.
okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, ma. So we will wind up the session, ma. I think everything is clear.
Yes, sir.
So tomorrow we'll be discussing about the question of validation. So, okay. So anyone, an administrative staff, I'm muting myself. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, God. We see. Take care. Bye.
Contact RC Hub International Foundation for Research and Education. WhatsApp 9888 231 231.